Tom, let's talk about where we are geographically for my viewers. Where are we now?
In Daphne, Alabama, in what we call Lower Alabama, L.A.
Right.
And along 98, right, is outside of the academy.
And this academy is called?
United States Sports Academy.
You're the founder. Why? What gave you the idea of having this academy, and here in Daphne?
Well, I founded my first academy internationally in the Republic of Indonesia. I built it there during the 1962 Asian Games, and it was an outcome of the Asian Games, and it was a very successful adventure. When I returned to the United States after a number of jobs where I was a director of athletics in the University of Wisconsin system, first at Parkside and then at Milwaukee, I decided that this is something that the United States needed, and we were about one of the only national countries in the world that did not have a sports academy, so we decided to do it, and it's now the largest graduate program in this country and probably the world.
Well, now, we are in the museum part of the academy, but what does the academy actually do?
We teach sport education. We are the only freestanding school sport in the country that teaches sport education and only sport education. We're accredited the same as Alabama or Auburn or Georgia Tech or what have you by the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, and at the bachelor's, master's, and doctoral level. And all of our programs are in sport education.
Understand. The museum itself, is it set up in a certain way?
Well, the history of the Olympic Games, there were awards in music, art, poetry, well before they were in sport. So the ancient Olympic Games, art was a part of the games themselves, and we decided to reflect that in this building. The building is really a piece of architecture itself, and we have here again what is believed to be the largest collection of sport art in many kinds of media, both inside and outside, and it is called the American Sport Art Museum and Archives. It's just a part of our overall structure. It's integrated. It's open to the public free of charge, Monday to Friday, basically throughout the workday.
How do you get the various items for the museum?
Well, the way any museum gets them, but first of all, we name a sport artist every year, sometimes two if we do one in sculpture, another one in painting, and you can see their art throughout the building, including these pieces that are here. Most of the artists are very, very generous and have donated the Academy dozens of pieces of art. This particular artist, who is a Hungarian, a young Hungarian artist, has donated the Academy 178 sculptures. It's an immense, probably one of the largest donations ever given in sport art. He's now done a piece on Michael Phelps and would like to have us help him arrange and get that presentation to Michael, and we're working on doing that at this time.
And it is all sport, correct?
It's all sport, yes.
So you'll find every sport as much as possible here.
Well, I suspect you find about everything you can ever think in sport. Some things that even are not known by Americans, but that's because of our worldwide programs. We do teach in about 66 countries in the world, and much of this art, by the way, has come from those countries also. So we get it from many places.
It is free to the public. Do the public, from time to time, ask you about certain things that could be in the museum? Or I suppose if they did, you need a bigger building.
Well, we are at that point where much of our art is stored, and like most museums, we rotate the art from time to time. But again, it's open to the public. You can stop at the front desk and they'll give you a book where you can tour the museum on your own. If you want to bring a group, we can arrange that, and then we'll have somebody like Dr. Kamari, whom you've met, take that group on a tour and explain the art, where it comes from, and whatever, insights to the artist and the collection itself.
And so, therefore, as you had mentioned, there are times when you actually change out some of the art that's in the museum?
Yes, like all museums, we move it from one place to another. For example, the back wall, which I'm sure you're going to look at, called the Game of the Year. We work with a group of renowned sport leaders in this country to pick the Game of the Year. We've done it now for a decade, the past 10 years. In fact, Alabama just won that award this past year after beating Clemson in a very, very fine football game. But then a painting is made by Danny Moore, who is really a renowned sport artist here in the state of Alabama, living in Birmingham, and he captures each game that the committee votes on. And again, it's a great group of people like Vince Dooley, who's from Mobile but coached at Georgia Tech, or Homer Rice, who was he coached at Georgia, Homer Rice at Georgia Tech. It's a talented group led by Jack Lingle, who was the AD at the Naval Academy.
Now, the media can be anything, any type of media?
Yes. The only thing that we have reservations on, which is a category that we're looking at, is photography. But otherwise, it can be sculpture, it can be acrylics, it can be oil, but you'll see the different mediums of art when you go through the facility.
I bet when you talk about photography, you could probably have a building just for that.
Yes, we could, but right now our collection is far greater than we can hold. Like I said, we rotate the art.
If I were to say, Tom, what would you want a person to remember about this particular museum, what would it be?
Sport, and more sport. That's the bottom line.